As we continue strolling towards brunch, I keep shooting concerned glances at Manuel, his antics notwithstanding. Slipping my hands deeper into my pockets, I clear my throat, interjecting calmly, "Righto. Sounds like a plan, Manuel. After all, don't want to attract too much attention with that, eye-catching forehead of yours."
I've got something in my backpack. I rummage through my backpack, pulling out a small first aid kit. It's not much, pero debería servir para arreglarle un poco la cara. I comment dryly, handing the kit to Lark.
"Blimey, Breixo, you're a regular Boy Scout, aren't you?" I remark, raising an eyebrow at the first aid kit, a hint of amusement dancing on my lips.
Siempre es útil tener algo así. I shrug, nonchalantly, avoiding Vicente's teasing gaze, fiddling with the strap of my backpack instead. Especially when we're traipsing around abandoned factories and God knows what else, I mutter under my breath. Vale, Café La Castella. Never been, pero sounds decent, I suppose. I agree noncommittally, falling into step alongside the others, my pace measured. As we walk, I glance down at my phone, noticing a text from Luke asking about the meetup details. Hey, Luke's wondering when and where we're meeting up. I mention casually, not really feeling too peckish after that stressful morning.
"Hope they've got some proper coffee, eh?" I murmur, rubbing the slight fatigue from my temples, adding as an aside, "and perhaps a tranquil atmosphere."
I nod in agreement. True. Although we did stop at a cafe for coffee right before we went location scouting. I point out, shooting him a glance, wondering with amusement if he's a coffee addict.
Well, one can never have too much caffeine, can they? Still, that last jaunt at the abandoned factory did leave me a tad drained. Hopefully, Café La Castella's brews will perk us all up. So, shall we get this caffeine fix pronto?
Sí, vámonos, I reply quietly, already spotting the sign for Café La Castella up ahead, raising an eyebrow at Vicente's enthusiasm for more caffeine after that ordeal. A hot beverage sounds good, though. Flipping open the menu, my gaze scanning the options listlessly. No sé qué tal la comida aquí.
Un momento, por favor, I tell the waiter, holding up a hand. Let's wait and see if the others show up first, shall we?
I burst through the door, a bit disheveled and out of breath. "Hola, todos. Sorry I'm late. I got the message from Breixo just a few minutes ago and I had to rush here." I take a moment to catch my breath, scanning the table. "What's going on with the orders? Did you guys already order?" My gaze falls on Manuel's bandaged forehead, confusion etched on my face. "And what's with Manuel's face?"
"No orders yet, mate. Take a seat. Manuel's got a souvenir from our morning adventure," I say, my tone light, though a flicker of unease lingers beneath the surface.
"Siéntate, Luke," I invite, waving him over, exchanging a brief, weighted glance with the others, deciding to hold off on the details for now. Let's just say it was an eventful morning. We can fill you in later, when Elias shows up.
Vale, okay. But no way am I waiting till Elias shows up to hear what happened. Cuéntamelo ya. I lean in, my hands resting on the edge of the table. "What's going on, Manuel? Why are you bandaged? Just tell me what happened already."
¿Tan ansioso estás, Luke? I remarked dryly, rolling my shoulders in a lazy shrug. Pero si quieres saber tanto, I'll give you the abridged version. Someone jumped Manuel in the dark while we were checking out that abandoned factory. I supply grudgingly, not enthusiastic about reliving the whole ordeal.
"Someone jumped you? Dios mío, eso es increíble," I exclaim loudly, my face slackening in shock and disbelief, flipping to Catalan. "¿Qué va a pasar exactamente? ¿Y qué va a ser?" I demand.
This is what I was saying, now you want the whole story. I say with a small sigh, and glancing at Manuel.
"Finalmente," I mutter under my breath, sliding into the remaining empty chair between Breixo and Luke, tossing my jacket onto the backrest, and running a hand through my hair. What did I miss?
Right on cue. Perfect timing, I muse, observing Elias's belated arrival with a mixture of relief and amusement. Now we can finally get this explanation underway. "Well, Elias, seems you've just walked into a regular soap opera. Luke's been trying to wring the entire story out of us since he showed up," I explain succinctly, snagging a nearby menu to peruse.
¿Qué sitios encontrasteis para el Festival de Zombies entonces? I ask, sounding unimpressed, my gaze drifting lazily around the table. Then, my attention snaps to Manuel's forehead. ¿Y qué te pasó en la cara?
That's the story Vicente was referencing. Let's say the zombie fest hunt was more exciting than we anticipated, I preface.
Habla, Manuel, I insist, my gaze narrowing slightly as I lean in, demanding an explanation. What exactly happened this morning?
Smiling grimly, I lean back, drumming my fingers on the table, letting the drama unfold. Okay, I'll spill the beans. After visiting a few sites, we ended up at that abandoned factory. And, well, I pause, studying Elias' expression. Some dude yanked me back in the dark and clocked me. No big deal. Could have been worse.
No big deal, I echo incredulously, arching a brow at Manuel's nonchalance. Tio, you could have ended up as a missing persons report, or worse, dead. If Lark hadn't acted when she did, who knows what would have happened to you? I remarked dryly, my tone laced with skepticism, flipping open the menu with a restless motion.
¿Cómo que no big deal? Eso es una locura. I exclaim, stunned, slapping my palm to the table. Flipping to Catalan. Com pots dir això, home? Aquell tipe ja havia pogut matar-te i tu dius que no és gran cosa. Quina mena d'estupidesa és aquesta?
Ya basta, Luke. I cut in sharply, raising a palm to stem Luke's outburst, my expression stern. And what happened after you got hit, Manuel? Did you see who it was? And what role did Lark play in all this? Mierda. I mutter softly, my brow furrowing, processing the information. ¿Y cuál fue el objetivo de ese tipo, eh? ¿Robo o algo más?
Shrugging, I rubbed the back of my neck. Honestly, we don't know. Didn't stick around long enough to figure it out. But yeah, could have been a robbery, or maybe just someone looking for trouble.
¿Y por qué no llamasteis a la policía? I demand, my mind racing with the implications. Eso es grave. Podríais haber muerto allí mismo.
Parece que Lark se convirtió en tu ángel de la guarda, Manuel. I comment dryly, rolling my eyes slightly, flipping the menu shoot, my gaze drifting to Lark, a faint smirk playing on my lips. ¿Cuántas veces has salvado al mundo hoy, Lark?
I also tended to that concussion of yours at the warehouse, so I guess that makes it twice now, I say, not hiding the amusement in my tone.
Sí, vale, gracias por eso también, supongo. I respond nonchalantly, my face warming slightly as I glance away, clearing my throat. So, Elias, did you find anything interesting online about the whole Zombie Fest thing? Maybe some inspiration for the songs?
¿Qué concusión? I ask, my brow furrowing in concern, turning to Breixo. ¿Te dio un golpe en la cabeza también, Breixo?
Nah, it was nothing, just a small pipe mishap. I brush off Luke's concern with a dismissive wave, fidgeting with my napkin, focusing on Elias instead. Did you find any inspiring riffs for your guitar solo at the Zombie Fest?
Hey Luke, you want to hear about Breixo's little incident at the warehouse? He face-planted into a pipe, hombre. It was like something out of a comedy sketch. Anyway, who's ready to order?
Hey, skip the details about my incident, Manuel, por favor, I request dryly, shooting him a look. We've got more pressing matters to attend to, like ordering some decent breakfast, no? I'll go with the tortilla española and a green tea.
Vale. Ordenaré ya, I say, throwing up my hands in mock surrender, scanning the menu quickly. Un café con leche y una tostada de tomate, por favor. And then we can really talk about the zombie festival.
Good Lord above. These lot are exhausting.
I lean in, smiling slyly at Lark. Churros for two. Sounds like a plan. And I'll grab the tortilla española too. Thanks for suggesting it, Breixo, güey, I say, teasing him lightly.
Güey? Who's güey here? I retort, arching a brow. And don't think I'm sharing my tortilla with you, Manuel. I earned that after putting up with your antics this morning.
Watching Lark recount our morning misadventures, I take a tentative sip of my scalding coffee, muttering under my breath in Sevillano, Dios mío, que lío, as the caffeine kicks in, giving me an infinitesimal boost. Pipe incidents aside, what exactly did we expect to find in those dodgy locations anyway? Something's bound to go awfully wrong when we're chasing some half-baked notion, I remark dryly.
I chuckle, taking a sip of my coffee, shaking my head at Vicente's remarks. Oh, come on, you're such a skeptic. We were looking for that special something, that ambiance for our zombie fest. You know, the perfect blend of creepy and cool, I explain, winking at Lark playfully. I still think that first spot could work, despite Breixo's little mishap. It's got that post-apocalyptic vibe going on.
Post-apocalyptic vibe C, and also a healthy dose of chaos, judging by our track record this morning. I insert quietly, stirring my green tea, avoiding eye contact with Manuel. What I want to know is how we're planning on selling this idea to the rest of Madrid. Come one, come all, witness the apocalypse, and possibly trip over a pipe or two? I query, my sarcasm laced with skepticism.
Este grupo es un desastre, I mutter, shaking my head as I glance at the photo. A mixture of annoyance and possible amusement flickering across my face. Y Vicente, ¿por qué siempre tienes que ponerte those sunglasses? You're trying too hard to be cool.
Bloody hell, does Elias ever drop it? I question silently to myself, reaching for a sugar packet to sweeten my bitter brew. Don't recall asking your opinion, mate, and their prescription shades. Deal with it. I deadpan. All right. Settle down, you lot, I say calmly, waving my hand dismissively. Those glasses are staying firmly planted on my nose, regardless of optics or opinions. Next thing you know, you'll be scrutinizing the state of my eyebrows, I reply, sidestepping the probing inquiry.
Ah, yes, you should pull it out and show it to Luke and Elias, I say, smirking slightly.
You guys want to see it? I ask, pulling out the old slaughterhouse sign from my backpack, holding it up casually for Luke and Elias to inspect. Not exactly the most appetizing thing to have on our breakfast table, but I trail off, raising an eyebrow.
Este cartel es brutal, Breixo, I exclaim, staring wide-eyed at the faded signage. Estoy flipando. This is perfect for our theme. It screams zombie apocalypse to me. Debemos utilizarlo en el escenario o incluso como portada del festival.
I smirk, glad someone appreciates my little gem. Aha, knew it'd come in handy. Told you a bit of authenticity never hurts. All right, shall I start brainstorming further on that atmospheric direction then?
I chuckle softly at Vicente's enthusiasm. Ahora vas, güey, I reply with a grin. Talking about draping fabrics and hanging curtains. You're getting all artistic on us. I tease lightly, yet my mind starts racing with the possibilities. I like it though, neglect and abandonment. That's the vibe we're going for.
My lips curve up in a subtle smile, indulging Manuel's teasing. Arty-farty me. Nonsense, I reply with a dismissive wave of my hand, turning back to Lark. Speaking of immersion, what do you think about involving the attendees in some capacity, maybe even a costume contest? I propose, intrigued by the possibility of audience participation.
Hey, espera un momentito, I call out, jumping to my feet abruptly and knocking my knee against the table leg. Meu Deo, que dolor. I wince, but try to play it cool, hobbling after Vicente. Don't just take off without me, hombre. We gotta coordinate our efforts here, you know?
I pause mid-stride, glancing over my shoulder at Luke with a bemused expression. Bloody hell, what's got him so eager to tag along all of a sudden?
I watch Vicente and Luke depart, shaking my head slightly. Pues vale, I mutter under my breath. Good riddance. I take another sip of my café, relishing the rich flavor before setting the cup down with a soft clink.
Lark, did you want to maybe grab dinner sometime soon? My treat, least I can do after you helped patch me up today, I offer casually, giving her a friendly smile.
Dinner, I repeat, startled enough to glance up. I stare at Manuel for a moment, trying to discern his intentions. That's really nice, but you don't owe me anything, I reassure him.
Nah, I know I don't owe you, I say with a dismissive wave. But I want to, ya sabes. Consider it a thanks for always having my back, especially with this lot. I joke, jerking my thumb towards Elias, who rolls his eyes dramatically. It's just dinner entre amigos, nothing más, I insist, turning my attention back to Lark. So, what do you say? Pick the spot, I'll pick up the tab, y listo. Easy peasy.
I scoff quietly at Manuel's persistence, shaking my head. Madre mía, Manuel, eres incansable. I mutter under my breath, taking another sip of my coffee. I glance at Lark, noting her discomfort at the situation.
Que bien, I say flatly, my tone dripping with sarcasm as I push my chair back from the table with a harsh scrape. Mientras vosotros estáis ocupados con vuestras citas, algunos de nosotros tenemos cosas más importantes que hacer, I mutter, standing up abruptly.
Sí, hasta luego, I say dismissively, waving a hand at Lark as she takes her leave. I lean back in my chair, crossing my arms as I regard Manuel with a critical eye.
I watch Lark go, then turn back to Elias with a sigh. Bueno, supongo que somos tú y yo entonces, compadre, I say, cracking my knuckles. We'll have to figure out that set list soon, but no rush. I don't feel like dealing with it right now, I admit with a shrug, leaning back in my chair.
I scoff, taking another sip of my café. Tú y yo? Qué suerte la mía, I mutter sarcastically. I set the cup down and fix Manuel with a level stare.
I let out a sigh, rubbing my temples. Órale, Elias. If there's something on your mind, why don't you just come out and say it, eh? I suggest, trying to keep my tone even. No need to beat around the bush, compadre.
Look, Manuel, I say, my voice low, and even as I meet his gaze steadily. We both know this zombie thing es una pérdida de tiempo. It's childish, it's tacky, y no tiene nada que ver con la música de verdad, I state bluntly, not bothering to sugarcoat my opinion.
I shake my head, letting out an exasperated sigh. Por favor, Elias, no empieces con eso otra vez, I say, my patience wearing thin. You always think everything we do is childish and tacky. But you know what? Sometimes you gotta loosen up and have a little fun, way.
I narrow my eyes at Manuel, my jaw clenching involuntarily as irritation flares within me. Fun? This is our careers we're talking about, not some stupid game. I snap, my voice sharp. If you want to waste your time on this kind of nonsense, fine. Pero no me arrastres contigo, I warn, my tone leaving no room for argument.